Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Zai. You already know what time it is, man. But before I even get into what I want to get into, for the cat that, have went literally out your way to find out where I work so you can supposedly report me for making these videos at work when I'm on my break. But, dude, it's crazy. Dudes will send me audio on just really trying to delve like deep. Like, I'm talking about recorded phone calls of trying to find out the security company I work for, which is ludicrous at the end of the day. But some dudes are just built like that. They sweet, and they've always been sweet. And maybe they necessarily didn't have their dad in their life. So you know what? It's no fault of you, bro. I get it. Like, a lot of dudes have tried to do multiple things to try to, downplay my thing. Now, as far as like me wearing not the shiesty, but the mask, it's because even though you know who I am, without really seeing my face and no particular numbers, you won't necessarily know who I am. There's a lot of white rooms, but that's besides the point, man. What I wanted to get into now is this whole infatuation with the cartel. And the reason I say infatuation with the cartel is because now people have got to a point in life to where, because certain things are taking place as far as like immigration, ICE knocking down people's door, and all the scamming tactics that's happening, people are somewhat feeling as if glorifying the cartel is something that's like a flex or something. At the end of the day, I'm just going to do this because I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole about people's beliefs. Like, we understand, like, even with the fools that have did, like, the little ranzas, like, what I'm saying, at the end of the day, they felt a kinship to the lots that are on the other side of the border that are pushing major weight. But for the most part, most people that I've talked to, and just not even necessarily just talk to, just hear fools tell about these stories and the horrific events that have taken place in some of these people's towns, they didn't really have no glorification for the cartels. But I understand now what's taking place is pushing people towards that as some type of hope. And I'm just not here to step on people's dream, but I'm just going to dispel the myth right now. Now, let me tell you this. The cartels are the cartels. I'll say respect to them because they do what they do. You know what I'm saying? And they own up to it when they get caught or whatever. They know most likely you're either going to die, you're either going to go to jail for the rest of your life, or maybe you get away. But for the most part, we already know how the story ends. Now, for them to be able to weather that and know that the possibility of them living to a ripe old age is slim, only a certain amount of the people actually do. For the most part, a lot of these people you may not even hear of again because they come up missing, and it's kind of like, are they fell up under the radar because they weren't really significant in the first place, so they didn't make it to that top status. Now, I don't know, like, I'm just gonna tell you, I find it not only ludicrous, but it's like a tall tale, or it's just like, I won't even say a tall tale, but it's kind of crazy to think that cartels could actually take on the United States. Like, and don't get me wrong, the United States is not all powerful for the most part. But when it comes to military, not only military, I'll tell you like this. If the cartel was to try to go at it with the U.S. military wouldn't even necessarily need to step in. And due to certain people supplying certain people, we know where the guns are coming from. But that's another story that I just don't want to talk about because it's none of my business at the end of the day. I'm just kidding this story because it's funny. Like, I got people online just really pushing this narrative that the cartel is somehow they're going to take the U.S. and keep the U.S. from doing certain things. And I'm just here to tell you that's not going to happen. Regardless of who may be over here hiding amongst the people, there's not enough power in the world to take on the whole country. You can be the best in the world. You can have the most elite snipers and the most elite, but at the end of the day, you're still just a cartel. You're dealing with the might of a whole country. And the U.S., I won't even get into their spending on weapons, but just imagine for the weapons that, people supposedly ship across the border and give you. These are second-rate guns. It's like comparing certain military armies or whatever to the U.S. Like their guns are going to be second rate. It's not you're not going to have the 5th and 6th and 10th and 12th gen types. You're going to have like the 0 gen, the ones that they took out of, because they're no longer working, or there's a lot of blowback from them, or it's too much recoil. Them are the guns they're going to give you. They're not going to give you nothing that's going to really be on the level of competition. Now, a lot of people like to compare U.S.'s loss to, which we'll just say it's a loss when they lost in Vietnam. Now, what people understand is the whole thing with Vietnam is these people had like 2 weeks training in boot camp, and then they were shipped off. They've never fought in the jungle. They've never been able to, they never been put in an environment to where they had to deal with those type of tactics. They hit and run, and they've never dealt with that. So if anything in life, it's like somebody freshly going to prison. If you've never dealt with the life as far as like being on the street and gangbanging, which that's even different because you have guns on the street. Not everybody has to use guns or carry guns, but for the most part, if you're gangbanging, you've come across it. But you just imagine you're being thrown in that situation. It's basically sink or swim. So you're in a jungle surrounded by people you don't know whether they're the enemy or not. You're not really used to their people, so you don't know that these guys have dug tunnels all the way up under you and just waiting to pop out at opportune times while you're trying to get a little bit of sleep, while your feet are rotting because of the water and constant moisture. It's a lot of things that went against them in that situation, but I'm here to tell you, as somebody that wanted to join the military, but unfortunately got locked up and did a gang of time, so I kind of like dashed that fantasy. They're fully prepared to fight in any environment now. Like they've really put themselves. This country has put like these dudes through training that not even the elite are able to handle. It's only a certain amount of people that's able to deal with the rigorous training that some of these dudes. You got dudes on the internet right now that'll tell you that they've hitting dudes from levels of it's just crazy, though. That's all I'm gonna say with that. Like, it's just, you gotta think about it. Like, we gonna call a spade a spade. At the end of the day, it's like trying to, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, it's just, I wanted to talk about the video because I see a lot of this on TV and the whole pumping up of the cartel. Like, cartels are strong. And take nothing from them, but why are dudes glorifying them now? And these are the same people that hate gang members, but you love the cartel. All of a sudden, they're not going to change U.S. policy. These people are still going to do what they need to do because I told you they don't want you here. I mean, I'm sure you've been hearing about Native Americans that have been getting removed from the United States as well. They're not even Mexicanos, but they're getting removed because at the end of the day, it's like this. A lot of people like to say who is native to U.S. lands, not even U.S. land, but native to the Americas. But at some point, everybody migrated this way. Like, if it's proof that the migration pattern, you figure if you're not the original person, you're not the original race, ethnicity, whatever, because ethnicity takes multiple. But if you're not the original, how can you say you originated somewhere? Like, so obviously, when they start, and multiple countries have mapped out the migration pattern of mostly all people, and how they broke off, and how they did this, and how they did that. Originating here, that's far-fetched, especially if you're not the oldest people in the world. Like, if the Cuna is Africa, then that means everything originated from there. So that would mean that people broke off from there. So how, if you're not the original, how can you, unless you're saying you didn't come from there, that you were born, I mean, the people that have migrated there, I could say, are born there. But for your ancestors, the original, to be born in America, that's ludicrous. At some point, they migrated. Like every other person migrated to the country, and they stayed there. So, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Like, that's crazy, dude. Like, to see that even Native Americans are getting swept up in it, but it's like, right now it's gonna get a lot crazier. Like, it's going to get a lot crazier, and people are going to have to weather it for the next 4 years, and hopefully you come up with somebody that you feel is worthy to sit on that seat, because obviously America chose. And another thing I trip out on, like I say, it's a lot of racism going on the street between, blacks and Hispanics. And when it comes down to it, the blacks voted like 90-some% in favor of Kamala. That was the guys. And the females, they voted like almost on the same level. Maybe not in the staggering numbers of that, but they voted more in favor of Kamala than the Latinos did. The Latinos voted 90-some% in favor of Trump, and the females voted like 54 or something. So that just goes to show you, you know what I'm saying? The unnecessary disrespect and calling out people like for not standing with you when that was like the point of it. When voting came, that was your chance for the bite nights. That was your chance to represent and your chance to fall behind something that made more sense for your gente. But people chose to go against that, and these are the ramifications. Like, I don't see too many people talking about these people on TikTok that are Latino, that are saying straight out, we're sorry we voted for him. You got whites saying we're sorry we voted for him, but why not take it out on them? Why take it out on the average freaking black person? Like, that's crazy, dude. That's like, I don't get it, dude. Like, even being from where I'm from, I still got to sit back and be like, man, what the hell is going on? Because I get the dirty looks as well, but I don't care. But I get dirty looks like, did something, it's like, dude, like, motherfuckers, at the end of the day, dude, nobody's really entitled to follow suit with nobody. But if something's gonna benefit you in the long run, as far as like quelling these deportations and putting somebody in a position, or putting people in a position that you know is working for you and not against you, why not go that route? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did 90-something% of Latinos vote for Trump if it was that serious? I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say, dude. Glorification of cartels is a trip. It's a trip, dude. I could tell you a story about a few people that had horrific journeys coming across the Mexican border, looking for a positive, a fresh start and means to like take care of their family, and their families didn't even make it across with them because certain things happen. So I don't even know what happened to their family. They're nowhere to be found. But that's not me. And I ain't gonna get into who it was, because then, you know what I'm saying, it could be open cases, especially if you figure you ain't found your family, but you're the only one that made it over and nobody else made it. I don't know. That's all I want to say, man. Like, it's okay. I know people are in despair right now. There's a lot of things taking place that ain't necessarily working in your favor. But to resort to glorifying the cartel, because at the end of the day, even the cartel's probably like, why are these people mentioning me? Because at the end of the, it's not even about race. It's the almighty dollar. They decided a long time ago that nothing is greater than that dollar or that peso or that whatever funds that are coming in. There's nothing greater than a human life is not even greater than money. So begging for them to help, they're not going to help you. They're going to, at the end of the day, they're going to go according to what's going to benefit them in the long run, and that's lacing their pockets. They're not worried about if they lose 520. They're not worried about whether if you come back to Mexico or stay in America. They're not worried about none of that. They're worried about their money and the fact that people bring them up and put them on a pedestal to even have that. You already got the U.S. government looking at them. But pumping them up like they're going to save you, they're not. They're going to sit back in there and let things happen the way they're going to happen, because they're not powerful enough to do anything about it. They're not. It's just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. People may not like my take on it, but it is what it is. I'm just giving you the real. You hate gangbangers, but you love the cartel. Like, yeah, make it make sense. With that being said, You already know I'm Zod, and hopefully everything is settled. People can go back to. Now I can't even go to Mexico because I ain't got no passport or no visa. Like messing it up for me. Like, but it is what it is, you know. We just follow suit. That being said, I'm your boy Zod. I'm out.